And good evening, YouTube, or good morning whenever you see this. But doing a follow up on our video we did yesterday, and interesting here in the news: Syria war, Miley Cyrus, more war. Let's go over here and follow up on some what we talked about yesterday. Once again on CNBC, talking about the bailouts and all the Fed action that's been going on. And here they're talking about Operation Twist, or the bond buying program they've been doing since 2011, um, and the 85 billion they're purchasing a month, which is essentially creating more money out of thin air. And an interesting number. Yesterday we talked about the 2 trillion that banks have, and here we see the numbers. It's an additional 745 billion that the net added to the already 3.4 trillion they had on balance of bonds and every other type of paper assets that they were, you know, racking up for different reasons. So we take that with the over 2 trillion yesterday that banks have in reserve, and you're looking at almost 6 billion, over 6 billion trillion, I'm sorry, 6 trillion that is on the sidelines that they have been pumping, producing, electronically producing in cash for the last, 4 or 5 years. I guess we're at 4 years now. That's still on the sidelines that they have been able to take advantage of, partially because interest rates are so low and money's so easy. Um, but this article continues to talk about the ill decision-making process of this whole thing, and in particular how the gross domestic product that existed in 2011 when Operation Twist began was growing at 1.7%, and retail 3.3%, private consumption 2.6%, etc., retail investment of 5%, etc. Oh, but now our numbers are 1.3% GDP, 1.8% private consumption. Basically, all of this money that, or cash creation, not money, cash creation, electronic digits, has done nothing. And it's obvious. You go back up to the number up top. There's 3.4 trillion they're holding on to, and that 745 billion is part of this operation. And then the 2 trillion the banks are holding on to, 6 trillion. Well, no wonder it's not affecting GDP, because it's not getting out to develop the economy, and that's because it's of inflation fears and what it'll do to inflation. We talked about that yesterday. So more of the mess and the war drums that go with this are only distracting from this message. This is a complete distraction, and like I said, you won't see this type of analysis on the bond buying program, or this is Fox Business. You won't find it. The only place I found it is on CNBC here, where they have a couple of commentators who comment on it. But here they're talking about interest rates. Mortgage rate bottomed in December. As mortgage rates go up, obviously people can't sell their homes. People can't move to accept jobs. People take losses on homes, etc., etc., and that can't help anything either. So it's a downhill trend. Once again, the 30-year rate now is 4.7, where it was 3.5 last year. So it's been going up pretty steady. Talking about Fed could not hold down much such adverse changes in long-term structure of interest rates, and that's not good. Not good for them. 10-year Treasury note was at 1.59%, and it's up to 2.82 as of Friday. So more bad news on interest rates and the effects of the market. Basically, they're keep trying to fight the market, and they can't. It's just a natural force. It's eventually going to break. Something's going to break, and all they can do is tighten their control in order to control it. If they let it go, it completely destroys what they've tried to build. Here it compares the German response and their unemployment and the Japanese response with their money printing they did, or free monetary policy, and comparing how we can't learn from their mistakes. And I like this final quote. Finally, Obama understands that the dollar is doomed unless U.S. can provide the world with stable transactions, currency, and a reliable store of value. Store of value. Yeah, that's not the dollar, that's for sure. That makes your head hurt just reading it. If you haven't seen it, you have to check out Mike Maloney's explanation of the 140 years of history of money. Talking about how basically most prevalent currencies in the world are all pegged to the U.S. dollar. It's all fiat money. It's not backed by anything. And the only thing that's keeping our dollar afloat is it's pegged to oil and the U.S. military. Um, so that's a key thing there, is we are the reliable store of value or currency for the world, such as it is, which is pretty weak when you consider that there's nothing that produces it. The Fed prints out dollars for free out of nothingness, and they just appear into a computer generally. And they're holding on to most of them, like it says up here. So some more stuff to research. This is past history, but its effect on us now is pretty staggering. So don't be surprised as things get worse. This war comes in, they'll probably blame some of that on the war, saying it's affecting the economy, but it's already baked in the cake. The economy's already going downhill, and they're going to try to blame it off. Oil prices, and oil's going to push up, and it's a bad effect on the economy. Economy's going down, or war not, and they're just going to try to, push it off on that excuse. That's my take on it. So some more information to look up. I'll put a link below for that, if I can, for that Mike Maloney video. Talk about the history of money in the last 140 years. He's got another one that does the whole history of money, but that's about another 30 minutes. So something to learn as far as how our dollar affects the world, and the Fed's money printing is a disaster. Alright, YouTube, we'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Live free.